As the Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Prime have had over 56 Power 5 football transfers out of their program, and everybody's asking that question, which is what is going on at Colorado? Is Coach Prime going to be able to get it together? Listen, he had a quote the other day on the Pat McAfee show, and it said as follows: "There is no way I can put new furniture in this beautiful home if we don't clean out the old furniture." And today we're going to talk about the transfers that Coach Prime has been able to bring in through the transfer portal, even with all of the transfer portal exits. Because here's the deal, and I know before some of you guys jump in the comments and tell me, well, these guys haven't played. They've made no impact at where they were. There's a reason why they were in the transfer portal. You might be correct on some of that. But I promise you, these players were wanted by elite programs across the country, or they were at elite programs and they were playing. Maybe they just weren't getting enough play time because there was a better starter over them. Let's keep an idea of where these players are transferring from and, kind of take that into consideration of why they might be in the transfer portal. But before we dive into it, please go ahead and hit that like and the subscribe button. Let me know what you all are thinking down in the comments below. Who do you guys think is going to be next for the Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Prime to be able to bring in through the transfer portal? So Coach Prime got a big win in a 5-star edge rusher out of the transfer portal. And I get it. He wasn't a 5-star in the transfer portal, but he was a 5-star out of college or out of high school. And that is Saval Smalls, the 6'4", 250-pound edge rusher. I'd say he plays a little bit more like Will Anderson does, where he can play into coverage as well as a linebacker. So it's going to be intriguing to kind of see how Coach Prime, Nick Williams, and the staff utilize Smalls in their defense. But Smalls is going to be a guy that is going to be aggressive out the box, and he is going to provide significant depth at the minimum for the Colorado Buffaloes. He's going to be able to guy that's going to come in there. He's going to vie for a starting spot. He's going to push people around. He's going to drive that competition. He's, like I said, more of that hybrid edge rusher type. And yeah, he's got the instincts he had the instincts in high school to be able to read and react to kind of whatever was going on the field. And listen, if this coaching staff is able to unlock that, which I think they will, because it's Charles Kelly, and Charles Kelly was a great recruiter at Alabama, and he's going to be a great recruiter at Colorado, and he knows what he's looking for in that talent. So Smalls going to Colorado potentially gives Colorado an opportunity to have somebody to turn into a first-round pick, maybe turn around that kid's career. So, interesting note, keep an eye on Smalls as he gets to campus. Additionally, you've got, I hope I'm saying this right, Jaquiez Robinson from Jacksonville, Florida originally, hit the transfer portal, coming from Alabama, was the 296th ranked player nationally, so he was a top 300 player. But again, remember how we talked about at the beginning of the video, look at all the schools that wanted this player? Well, like Smalls, who was wanted by over, 31 programs, including Alabama, because we're going to use Alabama as the standard here. Jaquiez was at Alabama, but was wanted by other teams like Oklahoma, Florida State, Georgia, only, the 2-time defending national champions in a row. LSU, Miami, Michigan, Nebraska, Oregon, Texas, Tennessee. I mean, the list goes on and on and on with the amount of guys or the amount of teams that were recruiting Robinson. So the 6'5" or the 6'1.5", 190-pound kid out of Jacksonville, Florida, now joining Coach Prime and the staff, obviously joining one of the best defensive backs to ever play the game of football, especially at the NFL level, going to be coached there. We talked about it many times, but DBs are going to, it seems like, be more interested in coming to Colorado to play for Prime because, of his development and the way that he's going to be able to develop players. Additionally, you had another commitment from, I think actually this one's a little bit more impactful, but it was Omarion Cooper. Omarion Cooper is a 6 foot, 170-pound cornerback out of Lehigh Acres, Florida, committed to Florida State. Here's the deal. He actually played. He had some production for Florida State. But again, like we talked about, sometimes these players could just be sitting behind better players. In 2022, he had 14 total tackles, 11 solos, one forced fumble, one interception. In 2021, he had 16 total tackles, 10 solos, and he had 2 interceptions. So, one thing I know here is he's going to get up there. He's going to fight for the ball. And I think that's something that you're going to need, because if you're going to play Travis Hunter on both sides of the ball, and with Cormani McClain being a true freshman, you're going to need better depth. You're going to need more experienced guys in this locker room. And Omarion Cooper, going to be a junior, hey, he's going to be able to provide some experience depth there and maybe help be a leader in that locker room. Big pickup for the Colorado Buffaloes there. The question is, where's Colorado going to continue to go? Because they've got a lot of scholarships. Well, as we've talked about, you've got to be able to go get guys in the trenches. Offensive line is definitely going to be important. Now, I'm always high on Oklahoma kids because you've got Bill Bedenbaugh out there. So I look at a guy like Colin Montgomery, who is now in the transfer portal from Oklahoma. Not sure where he's going to be looking to go, but that could be a take for Colorado. You know what Bill Bedenbaugh puts out in offensive linemen. So you know if Bill Bedenbaugh wanted the guy, there's obviously a reason, right? Because he's got that college size. He was ready to play before he came to college. That's how big he was. He 6'4", 352 pounds. Big, broad, bulky frame. Additionally, you've got guys like, if you really want to start dipping into some former Washington guys, you could go after Miles Muro, an inside offensive lineman who was a former 4-star recruit out of high school, the number 115th ranked player in the country at 6'3", 200 pounds or 300 pounds out of Mater Dei. Yeah, this could definitely be a take for you. It's a well-built frame. And here's the deal. He's from Mater Dei. So if you are able to develop him, you're able to do some nice things with him, maybe that helps you out along the recruiting trail at Mater Dei High School. Since you guys are, I'd say closer to the West Coast than other teams are, maybe that gives you guys a competitive advantage. But there's offensive tackles, inside offensive linemen all over the place throughout the transfer portal, whether you're looking at Ben Chrisman from the Ohio State Buckeyes, you look at a guy like Caden Weatherby from Texas Tech, plays in more of an air raid offense. That would definitely be an option as well. Definitely looking at the defensive line, that's going to be another position where Colorado's really going to have to try to build there. And again, there are really nice pieces in the transfer portal. You could go out there and get a guy like Dylan Brooks, a former borderline 5-star edge rusher, but he was a 4-star. Dylan Brooks, transferring from Auburn. That would be a great pickup for Colorado. He was a part of that 2021 class. A top 80 player in the country, 6'5", 250 pounds. Again, a guy that could come in and be a Power 5 level starter for multiple years. Some of his evaluations early on was that he would need to be probably developing a little bit more on his tackling. But again, Nick Williams is a guy that has developed and recruited high-level defensive linemen before at Texas A&M. So why can't he do it again? But I look up and down the list of guys that are in the transfer portal right now. I mean, at the defensive line position, and there's plenty of them out there. It's just a matter of who's going to be a best fit for Coach Prime. Is the person willing to be okay with sitting? Because you got guys like Jordan Dominic and guys like that who we know probably are going to be able to start. So some of these guys are probably going to be more depth pieces. But I'm curious about what Colorado is going to do at the quarterback position, because I know right now you have Shedeur Sanders and you've got that, is it Danny O'Neal that you guys got out of Kentucky? And I know he looked good, but do you want to try to bring in another quarterback that could potentially help provide a little bit more depth in that room, provide some seniority there, and potentially drive Shedeur Sanders for a starting spot. You've got TJ Finley from Auburn, who just hit the portal. That might be a take. You've got Peyton Thorne from Michigan State. Now, I would imagine a lot of these guys are going to want to be starters at their respective new program. I mean, that's a given. I mean, anybody that's probably in the transfer portal, they're looking for a starting role. So, listen, I look at the transfer portal. I look at what Colorado could take. There are so many different directions that they can go. There's so many different needs for Colorado. I'm not saying they're going to be completely awful this year, but I think it's time to pump the brakes a little bit and go, okay, it's going to be rough. And they might not really get rolling till later in the season when you've got, some of your easier games coming up. I think probably the beginning part of their schedule is going to be the hard part for them. They've got to get through that slate of games until you get to the Arizona States and the Stanfords and the Arizonas and those teams where you could potentially start seeing Colorado rack up some wins. So guys, go ahead, jump down the comments below. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are about what's going on at the University of Colorado. Who do you think Coach Prime could potentially go out there and land? And guys, just let me know what you guys want me to talk about in terms of Colorado content, because listen, Coach Prime's killing it out there. He's definitely creating headlines, and I want to talk about him with y'all. So jump down in the comments below. Let me know what y'all think.